Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Sorry, we were a little busy with the whole life and death combat thing, and then you attacked Pops. Pops!
Whatever it is we look forward to and whoever it is we're chasing, to that I say amen.
Keep this thing going. Pick a name. Go on the air. Talk hard.
To that I say all right, all right, all right.
World, the headlines read of those whose hearts are filled with greed, who rob and steal from those in need. To right this wrong with blinding speed goes underdog. Speed of lightning, power of thunder, fighting all who rob or plunder. Underdog, underdog.
This is the Green Machine. Green Machine. 8, 9, 10 years old enough for Green Machine. A racer for guys who like a ride that's really fast. Stick shift controls, swivel action rear wheels, twist, turn, and spin like wild. Green Machine. What a ride! Yeah. Green Machine with stick shift steering, some assembly required. Green Machine by Marx.
The birth is only the beginning of the nightmare for Robin, and soon the world. One of her babies will face death, the other will strike to kill. And when Robin meets up with the alien father, she'll seek revenge.
What have you done, Robin?
The resistance force will face their toughest battle yet. Will their secret defense save them or backfire? And when Donovan is reunited with his son, will Sean become his greatest enemy? Who will claim the V for victory?
V, tomorrow at 8 on Channel 17.
Friday, he's Matthew Starr, a teenage super hunk leading the secret life of a superhero. Teen idol Peter Barton stars in the first new hit of the season, The Powers of Matthew Starr.
Thank God it's Friday!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time you've been working all week long for. The time we officially... Let's hear some car horns out there going with the whistle. Everybody ready? All right! Here we go. Friday, 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 Friday. I might be mad. Tomorrow I'll be glad. 'Cause I'm a Friday on my mind. I'm buck naked.
I know.
Quitting time. I said it's quitting time. I was the foreman. I was the one says when it's quitting time at Terra. Quitting time!
You are a wonderful person.
Friday evening, what a feeling. Feel like singing.
Losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefits.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
All right, folks, I hope you're having a good week. I hope that things are going so great for you. You can't wait to wrap up your week here with me on my Friday Popcast. And we're going to get into some nerdy talk today. Boy, are we indeed. So with me, this guy. That's right. Joker Voice is in the house. Brother, we are going to go into the middle of the fire. So how are things going, my friend?
Well, if I was any more amazing, I'd be illegal.
I think you might be in at least 32 states. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I guaranteed 3. Guaranteed 3.
Guaranteed 3. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, we've talked about some different things here on the old Friday thing, and yeah, one of the things that's been kind of interesting is trying to I don't want to say pick a favorite per se. I think we both would agree both are amazing films and classics in
Yes,
their own rights.
absolutely.
I think there are elements that we can compare. There are certain things that are really apples and oranges. One of the things that we definitely want to do, folks, make everybody know, don't hate on us, please. I don't want to hear about it that, oh, I hate one. First off, we're comparing like a $6 million film to $100 million film.
Right.
And so just that in and of itself makes a massive difference. Then, of course, James Cameron has produced Aliens and Abyss in between these two films. So his level of expertise and technology and the advancement of CGI and special effects was exponential.
Absolutely.
So I'm just trying to give them their due and just have a fun conversation. And that's kind of where we're going to go, my friend. So
I
with
like
that
it.
said, I don't remember seeing The Terminator in theaters. I will
I
be
don't
perfectly
either.
honest with you. I remember seeing it very early on, and it was a buzz for sure, but I somehow don't have a theatrical memory. So I don't know if it ended up on cable TV or
I
VHS or
I
where it
think
landed for me first.
I remember I was at a friend's house. It was like a 4th of July thing, whatever, get together, and I don't remember if it was VHS or like you said on HBO or Showtime or something, but I remember seeing it for the first time at someone's house.
I just know I came away loving it.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it was wicked. I think that one of the things I really have always loved about the film is because it is so low budget. It is very immersive into the way they shot on street scenes.
yes.
It definitely captures the 80s feel in several
Hmm.
moments. And while these scenes like this may not have aged well for you kids out there, let me just
Definitely.
say at the moment, this was so cutting edge. It's
Oh yeah,
incredible. It was incredible. Yeah. Uh, I think all of the characters are great. I think sort of like that edgy noir dark feeling of stuff works really well.
and those sunglasses sold millions.
Oh, just everything about the character and I think there's a thirst for men. Sorry, ladies, there's a thirst for men that we want to kind of be badassery, just a little, even if we're not at all. Let's just
Yeah,
be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. I'm
So
not.
not everyone could rock the giant leather jacket and the glasses and kind of pull a little pseudo Arnold thing. But if you were big enough and you were kind of like suave enough to do that, they did. And it was a cool thing.
Absolutely.
I totally get it. Totally get it for sure.
I, I,
Um,
I was definitely more Michael Bean than it was Arnold.
oh yeah. I mean, I'm still not even remotely going to pretend that I could pull off sort of an Arnold thing. I'm not even, I don't think I'm even cool enough to pull off the Michael Bean thing, to be perfectly honest, but at least I could try. So yeah, that was for me. I think my intro was probably through VHS or maybe a cable adventure. I don't know for sure, but I feel like uh, I was later to the game, but not so late that I didn't feel connected to what everybody was talking about.
Correct.
That being said, opening day, Terminator 2, opening day,
Oh, I was there.
100%. Saw it multiple times in the theater.
I remember. I
Knocked the socks
remember.
off. Yeah.
I remember before it was released.
Mhm.
And again, this is going back. Arsenio Hall show when he walks out to do his little interview, and Arsenio's band is playing the theme song, and he comes out and he's just dressed in the black with the glasses, and it's just like, oh, that's cool.
Oh
That's
yeah.
just cool.
Yeah. I really, really want to say that. So the thing that's different, the biggest thing that to me struck me, so I've watched them both here again. And this is going to fall in the same conversation. Loki and I just recently did an Aliens and Alien conversation. Same thing, right? I've watched these now so early in the year. It's likely that they'll get not only a second, but possibly a third viewing because I'm way earlier watching them both than I kind of normally do. And watching them back to back, I think the pacing was one of the things I noticed that was different. With T2, a little slower to get going to spend more time
Right.
setting up the characters so that he can mislead you in the audience. He doesn't
Right.
want you to think and have his cards totally shown until we get that first gunfight, until we get that
Right.
first moment with Arnold's character. So
And then it just hits the gas and it's gone, and it's 100 miles an hour the rest of the way.
The fact that Arnold was just given this literal bad to the bone is the perfect theme song for the
Oh, yeah.
character and the persona, who the Terminator really is. I know that I've seen it in a couple of westerns, but as far as action movies, this is probably the first time I've seen the swinging shotgun maneuver. That was definitely, I mean, it's been in a couple of westerns. I noticed it in even like the True Grit movie. That was like the one thing I took away with rewatching that recently was, oh wow, I forgot about that. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, but it's one of the kick butt scenes when John Wayne does it, right? Because I don't know if you've watched True Grit recently, but you have him on horseback. He puts the reins in his teeth. He's just got guns blazing, charging the guys. And one of them, he has the shot. Yeah, so it was a freaking, kick butt moment. And Arnold captures all of that for sure. The other thing, obviously, just the makeup is great. Special effects are great. All these different characters are amazing. I mean, it just hits every single note. And we're very high level right now, folks. I think the other thing for me with Robert Patrick is they played him almost like an alien.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Definitely.
think he talked about like a lot of birds. His character would respond in very like neat neck jerky ways and stuff. But I think when I watched it again today, and again his skin tone and just how his demeanor, I thought if I was doing like, I don't want to say a Starman movie or something that was just the alien amongst us kind of feeling, he really pulls that off well. I thought that was definitely a vibe for sir. Did you get a chance to rewatch these recently here?
I have not, but I've seen both of them so many times that there's not much that I don't miss.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Can't say enough about Linda Hamilton. Not that I dislike Linda Hamilton in the first one, because obviously you are rooting for her, but in the second one, man, she is elevated to something that's so next level.
Right.
It's sort of hard to imagine. It sort of shocking when you see T2 in theaters the first time of a woman. She's doing the pull-ups. She's holding her own.
Actually the scene that was really just the kick butt scene, as you would call it, is when they're at the Miles Dyson's house, and she's just taking shots at first, and then she switches her gun to full auto and like perforates the living room, and then as she's walking in and she's the reloading, just her stance, the way she's walking, I'm like, that's a Terminator. That's where she's become to what she hates.
Yeah, they basically give her a music cue and everything, I believe. So they definitely, and just brilliance. We get everything we want, and we'll parse this out from there. So yeah, that's our general intro, folks. As two dudes who clearly, love these films, love this IP, this franchise has sadly not delivered anything beyond these two films.
And it's interesting that you mentioned with Loki doing Alien and Aliens.
Yeah,
I'd say Aliens and T2 are probably two of the best sequels ever.
Yep. Yeah, and I know this. We're recording this. We're recording this in advance, so folks, you can check out the podcast and you can listen to Alien's take there from Loki. He, among many other people, have made the case that the sequels actually are superior than the originals. Even though I can disagree in some ways,
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong, and I do agree with the take because he can make the case they could stand on their own. Like if Terminator 2 was the first Terminator movie, we'd be okay.
Right.
Same thing with Aliens.
Now
they're just different. Aliens are subgenre different. This one's not as subgenre different as much as Aliens for sure.
I think the original films tap into more of a horror aspect when the sequels are purely action films.
Agreed. And I think that difference is my issue with Alien and Aliens more so than Terminator. Like I can get an action, it's more of an action horror film with Terminator than Alien. Alien is clearly just a monster, hardcore horror sci-fi. I liken it more to The Thing as sort of that kind of horror experience. Whereas with
film.
Aliens, it's just an action sci-fi adventure. It may be the best of, this sort of genre is these two films. So, yeah, T2 is definitely worthy of that conversation for sure. So, yeah, overall, I think that it's one of the few times I feel like we have a film and a franchise that is trying to have some sort of time travel conversation with something that I can enjoy. I don't, as everyone's heard me say it, I don't enjoy most time travel movies because there's so many issues and flaws.
They're plot holes, massive plot holes.
They're trying to live in a world of ambiguity where they are well aware. Because I love the fact that Reese has that line in this movie where he's like, "Well, I don't know. I didn't create the freaking machine. I don't know how this works. I don't get it. I'm just here along for the ride." So he, like the audience, is saying, "Look, I don't need everything explained to me. Just try to make it make sense within what your rules are." So I think that was pretty cool. That was pretty good.
Right.
The first movie is definitely a lot tighter with that.
And at least with the first, I'd say with the first few T films that they had that they kind of stuck with that. It's the later on 5, 6, and whatever, however many other Terminators that they play fast and loose with the time travel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that I can go ahead and I'll be critical a little bit. I think even T2, the ending gets a little dicey for me because, now we're into like another, that's the premise of the movie. It's like the obviously the future's not set, right? Make it what you want.
Right.
However, once the thing's melted, now we're kind of are we in like a time paradox? Like, where are we at now? Like we're
right.
So I've never totally loved from the point that the thumb goes down and that's the last part that's liquefied, that little piece that's after. I've never been a big fan of that. That movie can just end with the thumb. I don't even need to look and know that John and Sarah are still standing there or in a car, or I don't need anything. Credits could have rolled. It would have been easier for me. Or we could have cut back to a 1984 scene or something. Like I was fine. And I guess I can get it out of the way. I don't hate T3 as much as most people do. I'm mixed on Salvation.
Salvation I liked.
It's like, okay, there's so many things it does right, and there's so many things that are just terrible at the end.
Sam Worthington.
Well, worse than the Sam Worthington for me is just the heart transplant concept. It's so radically dumb. I don't know why we did it. It's just radically dumb. Sam Worthington was just a useful tool. It's sad that they tried to make him more human and not. I felt like he was going to be a Terminator model that would glitch into Terminator mode. I always felt like he was going to be like he was post Arnold's Terminator, so he was more human. Right. That's what I expected, and then there were going to be something that once it glitched on, he'd become more Terminator. He was supposed to imitate humans really, really well, and he was really good most of the time. And then suddenly, whenever the termination order sort of directive kind of kicked in, then he would become. And the fact that they didn't go that direction at all, and then they went to the heart train, that to me it ruined the movie for me.
And maybe the CGI Arnold.
Yeah, at the time I was like, ugh, it hasn't aged. It hasn't aged well.
No.
At the time I was like, okay, I would have rather, again, if Pops could rewrite the script and redo World, I would have looked at that and said, listen, how about this instead? If we're going to have CGI Arnolds, can we just have like 4 or 5 of them come off the assembly line and he has to fight and survive 4 or 5 of them? Because that's at least more entertaining for the folks at home that will ignore the fact that your CGI is kind of wonky. Is that you have 4 or 5 of them running around. Like that would have been at least a lot more palatable for us. The others, Genesis, I enjoyed in the theater up until they time forward and they never mated. There's no John Connor. They like break their own multiverse because they never actually sleep together when they jump forward in time. So from that moment on, the movie was just dog crap, and then just turned into actually absolute dog crap. Dark Fate was terrible right from the get go, and I don't even know what other Terminator stuff there's been. I tried to watch the Netflix show, which I thought was okay. It had some good moments at times.
Okay, so what was your thought on the Sarah Connor Chronicles?
Oh, you know what? I've never watched the Sarah Chronicles. I
Oh,
have
really?
watched pieces of them, and it's one of those things that's been on the to-do list to always rewatch and never have. It's one of those things I think I even own. Well, I had a friend who liked it. They loved it. I don't think I've watched it. Did you like it? You like Sarah Chronicles? Sarah Chronicles?
I liked it. I mean, Lee Nahidi and Summer Glau. I mean, you
Mhm.
got two quality actresses there. So
Okay. So yeah, the time travel elements, folks. You tell me what you guys think. I think I always liked that they were trying to have some general frameworks to play with. I don't think they ever introduced concepts like multiverse or anything like that.
no,
So it's fine to just say this is how it is. It's never irritated me, I would say, too much. I like the first one better in a lot of ways because the second one it gets a lot muddier with how we're doing things, and the machines are
correct.
kind of undoing their own time jumping stuff. So, yeah. The thing I think that would be far superior in the first movie, let's give some love for the first movie,
Okay.
would be the supporting cast.
Oh yeah.
Man, I tell you what, supporting cast are great. Love these characters. They are on such a brief amount of screen time for being
Yep.
memorable characters. I really, really enjoy them.
That's
But
Lance Henriksen and
that's Hendrickson.
Paul Enslow, right?
Yep. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Definitely two of the legends. They've done a lot of great work. Phenomenal actors in their own right. And just, yeah, for characters that are just not relevant to the overarching big story, they're super, super memorable. And I say that whereas with Judgment Day, I just don't feel like there's as much of that beyond the main four characters. I don't hate it. I actually thought about doing a video on that. The genius of Cameron is creating like unique and interesting sort of other characters. Like he does such a good job with that and doesn't get credit for that. That new Hollywood, modern Hollywood, is completely incapable of doing that. Like it
Well,
just seems to me that that's not what we do anymore. We don't make interesting.
modern Hollywood is incapable of a lot of things.
Yes, I understand. But like I'll remember like the douchebaggery guy blowing
Yes.
smoke into Terminator's face right before the Terminator takes his. I want your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle more than I'll remember the co-star actor in Halo that I was supposed to be cheering against death for like 6 episodes. I don't know anything about. I can close my eyes and vividly see this dude. I don't even know this guy actor's name. I don't even know the actor's name.
Nope.
That is some brilliant storytelling that I don't think Terminator gets enough credit for.
Right.
Do you have a favorite character in the second one? Outside the main four? Yeah, outside the main four.
God, outside the main four. I mean, there's Dyson. He's
okay, I guess.
Kind of. The foster mom.
Okay. Yeah. Janelle.
Right, because she's also in Aliens. She's the Ramirez.
Oh man, that is Ramirez, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh. And it hasn't clicked in a minute. Yeah. Wow. That makes the Ramirez performance even more outstanding. That's a big
right.
Yeah. And Janelle's obviously when she's taken as the Terminator, right? And she does the death scene. That's
right.
Just remarkable. Just remarkable. And catch you off guard for sure.
The Wolfie's fine. Where are you? Your foster parents are dead.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I didn't see a photo easily to find real quickly. I love the twins. The security guards and the Terminator is the floor and he comes and he pulls up.
Yes.
The guy's got his coffee, turns around. Those are these famous twin actors. They were in like the second Gremlins movie. They were in
Okay.
Good Morning Vietnam. They've been in a couple other movies, and I think that again, this is the brilliance of Cameron in the Terminator movies. Is he has added some secondary characters that we at least don't forget.
Right.
Now, the first one, I guess, her little roommate and the boyfriend, they're having their little, which was bizarre. They're having their intimate time while she's listening to headphones, which is like, I'm like, that is
That's
to,
just...
to this day, that is so weird to me. But I never forget it. I'll be honest.
my favorite, I guess, is secondary
Mhm.
character. I guess the guy behind the counter in the gun store.
Oh yeah, buying all the guns and
Yeah.
yeah. He's very believable. Like, I mean, this is definitely gun store. Yeah, that definitely felt real. Yeah, I agree with that. That's good. Yeah, again, this is where I think all the performances, play pretty well and give you. They're pulling you into the universe.
Right.
Because now you're beyond just the scope of the main story. You're into the universe with all these other random characters that are not key to us remembering the story or not.
Right.
I don't. The funny thing is, I know he's really more integral to the story. I never really cared for the Doctor.
No.
I'm gonna explain it. I'm not supposed to like the Doctor. I get that.
And I liked when doing Sarah broke his arm and he says, "You broke my arm," and she's like, "The human body has 214 bones. That's one."
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
Yeah. I don't usually cheer for like outtakes or stingers and things like that. But now that it's been around for so long, we do stingers and stuff so regularly. I always wondered if there's a scene where we cut to he's in a mental hospital and he's telling the story of all the crap that he saw.
That would
no
be
one
hilarious.
believes him.
That would be hilarious.
That would probably be my stinger if I had to have one.
Right.
Yeah. That'd probably be my stinger with something like that. If I have to have them, I gotta have stuff like that. So, yeah, he was he could have been played by a million other people. Didn't seem particularly, not really bad, but not very good. But the universe was well. I never totally understood. I mean, I do get it. I'm not oblivious, people. I always thought it was weird with the whole, like, they're gonna sedate her, and then he licks her, implying that he's obviously done some things to her.
Yeah.
And I guess
orderlies.
Yeah,
I mean, nothing like that happens at Arkham because they'll break their hands off. I'm just saying.
Could you imagine? Oh, it seems like such a great premise for a story. Oh, sorry, we're going to interrupt this program to bring you one of Pops' grand ideas on how to reboot and fix the DCEU, where it's like such a great premise for Arkham would be the fact that would kind of happen. Oh my gosh, that would be incredible.
And and I feel sorry for those orderlies who would try to do something to Harley or Ivy or name it in there.
So what would be okay? So here's my pitch. Let's see how Joker likes my pitch.
Okay.
So I'm always into my obscurities. So my obscurity would be, we're going to do this, but it's going to be an obscure character like the ventriloquist, and he is going to somehow get free in order to win over Harley and Ivy. He's going to give them the orderlies like his presents. So you're going to have that scene where he pulls back the freezer door, and the orderlies that have been tormenting them are strapped down on tables.
Oh no!
And he's like, "Girls, I got you a present." So just to prove my goodwill to you, that I'm not, I am trying to win your favor. However, I come bearing gifts, and then you have sort of like the three villains that can charge forward into the store. That's how I would play it. But man, yeah, an Arkham introduction of the orderly abuse was, yeah.
Or wasn't there an episode, or wasn't there a comic where Zatanna got out? What was in Arkham?
It's not coming to mind at the moment. Would not shock me. I mean, literally all of Shadow of the Bat centers around stuff going in and out of Arkham, and there's probably been an Alan Grant story that I'm not remembering where he's dealt with it for sure.
Okay. Because
So
that would be interesting, where a hero sees just how awful Arkham really is.
Yeah, no, I think that it's just a great premise. And it's one of those things where I get it. I know why we're doing it. It also just kind of feels like a weird distraction because she doesn't put him down.
No.
You expect her to put him down. And I guess this is maybe his little subtlety way of saying, well, you don't want her to. We don't want her to, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Let me see. Let's go back to the original film and find something that was worthy of note. I think that
the club scene where he finally tracks her down, pulls up his his hand cannon, and the laser sight just comes right into the middle of her forehead. Great scene.
Yeah, they do such a great job of giving you just enough of a setup with the gun store scene.
That 80s hair. That 80s hair. Wow.
When I rewatched, I don't think I did it this last rewatch, but the one I did before, because we did talk hard on this last year because it was the anniversary last year.
Okay.
I watched that the 80s scene a couple of times to soak in all of the 80s stuff. And as I remember correctly, when they were filming this, people actually thought this was an actual club. It kept trying to go in and interrupt the shoot. So it's so well accurate of that 80s feel and vibe.
I could smell I could smell the Aquanet.
Yeah, there's a lot of Aquanet in that scene too, where they're getting ready and I'm like, I have wandered into that scene as long before this movie came out. Definitely the even late 70s. There was a lot of hair. Yeah, this is a brilliantly one of those scenes and stuff that is not going to always be easy for folks to appreciate if it's sort of like beyond the scope of your age. I can just tell you that to put it in a public place, but then have him be able to sort of storm through, have his way, and then give you the audience that tension of, oh crap, he is in sights, it's going to happen. Yeah, very good analogy.
And then I also liked when Michael Biehn just kind of says, you don't understand, this will not stop, it does not feel, it does not tire, it does not this, and it will not stop until you are dead. And just his delivery of it is like, you don't understand how much danger you are in.
Yeah, and he repeats it during the interrogation scene here. Michael Biehn is really underrated in this movie. It's absolutely. It's one of these things where we tend to take light of action movies like this for sure.
I think he's like underrated in like almost everything he has done. I mean, Tombstone, The Rock, this.
True. Yeah, he's really, really good in this for sure. And definitely Tombstone. I mean, oh man, Johnny's freaking wicked. Yeah.
Johnny Ringo.
Yeah, Johnny Ringo's freaking great.
That should be that should be a pop talk too.
Oh, we did a talk hard on it, and we're going to have to come back around to my Western conundrum. I have a Western conundrum. All right, folks, let's interrupt the program for a Western conundrum. Western conundrum is I have 3 number 1 Western movies because they're all sort of like unique in their feel. So therefore I have a hard time sizing them up against one another. So Good and Bad and Ugly is kind of the GOAT. Good and Bad and the Ugly, it's top to bottom. And it's like how the third one in a trilogy can be so much better. Like he just got exponentially better. It still breaks my brain. Unforgiven is sort of like the fulfillment of the Western genre and then redefining it to move forward because it kind of had died out.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part. And then Tombstone is probably the most rewatchable Western. Like you can just pop it in, you rewatch it over and again. It never gets old.
And quotable lines.
Many great
quotable lines just all over the place.
it's so I have a hard time sizing them up to even to each other because they're not exactly alike.
Right.
The genre can be so broad in how it approaches things that the tone and the pacing and the characters and the lines and yeah, so I have a hard time with those three. I treat them all as 1A, 1B, 1C. I treat them all
Gotcha.
as my number ones. And they get,
I
yeah, I have a hard time parsing them. And then I
I
have another list of like 5 that are just phenomenal.
I
So,
have a list of 2
mhm,
because I'm not a Western fan at
right.
all. Tombstone
Mhm.
and Serenity,
Okay. Okay. I'd have
which
to rewatch Serenity to give it a
which
fair
is
shake.
which is a Western. It's just in space, but
Yeah.
it's purely a Western film.
Okay. I'd have to rewatch Western to see if I can get that on my list for that. But yeah, that's where the John Wayne movies land for me, folks. This is in that next 5. I have a hard time. I mean, True Grit is probably, I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't put it as like the number 4 because my rewatchability is my multiplier. You know what I mean?
So
That's like,
so
I can have a score and a rewatchability factor. That's kind of how I kind of have those grades in my head. I rewatch the True Grit movies, both of them
okay,
regularly. Mhm.
we're also talking the what's it the remake who
Yeah,
Jeff
2010s. Yeah, so I just did the popcast with Jacob Ironside. You can check that
okay
out, folks. Where we talk about the '69 True Grit and the 2010. We
that
talk
was
about
Jeff
Jeff Bridges,
Bridges okay
uh,
hey
Matt Damon, Josh Brolin, and Haley
Haley
Steinfeld.
Steinfeld right
Yeah, and each movie sort of has pros and cons and why they're both great. And we both had a kind of hard debate on something where both were so great as a remake. We couldn't really come up with other examples where you have like such a well received remake that got redone and was also so well received. I mean, this is an Oscar thing for both lead actors, which is kind of unheard of.
right
So it's John Wayne's only Oscar. So it's one of those things with the Western genre that yeah, I kind of have a weird phenomenon that happens in my brain. But yeah, back in Terminator Land.
okay oh
Well,
these
these two.
well these images here I mean the
Mhm.
for the first one is like ooh what is that and then because you've seen the first one and then you see the next one it's like oh that is cool
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am such a nerd for these movies because they're so integral into my sort of like I call it the Nexus era, right? When I was, between ages 10 and 25.
yeah
And they're sort of key to that phase that I see those images and it makes me just want to watch the movies. Like it just, hey, when's the last time I've watched those movies? It's
right
kind of what happens in my brain. I don't have a favorite exactly. I'm really trying not to play cop out, but it's not as though I feel I get all the things, guys. I mean, look, truck when this dude was on screen for the first time and he's liquid metal and he's transforming everything, I'm like, this is freaking insane.
right
And then you have the thing in the first movie where she calls the mom and it's the
uh-huh.
Terminator on the phone. Yeah,
Yep.
honey, I love you, sweetheart, honey. She doesn't tip the cards basically to
No.
say something feels weird. That was weird for mom to say that. Like she didn't say that, but you could see her. Linda Hamilton delivered it.
Right.
She said what needed to be said. Something's wrong. And then they find a way to do the exact same thing here and
Mhm.
then go up one level by her becoming the Terminator to
Right.
kill the
Stepdad.
foster dad.
Yeah, the foster dad.
And oh gosh, it's so good. It's so wicked. It's so good. So I couldn't think of I think you hit the nail on the head early when you talked about the horror element.
Mhm.
I think the first one feels more like a horror element because of the grittiness and the fact that it's sort of a damsel in distress at the end. Like she's
Yes.
left there at the end face to face because, Reese has to sacrifice himself the best he can.
Right.
And it still doesn't totally terminate the Terminator. It's
Nope.
crawling after her and she's trapped.
Oh yeah.
So
And he's just reaching almost
just
grabbing her face. And
yeah, they're
she's
doing
like,
this. Yeah,
you're
as it's
terminated. The blanker.
Yeah, remember how it's like she's crawling. It's like just missing her leg.
Yeah.
Not once. You're waiting for it to grab her leg. You're just
Yeah.
literally on the edge of your seat waiting. So that's the horror element. I don't
Right.
think the second one taps into enough. Like I think
Right.
there's moments, but I think you never felt that kick butt Sarah wasn't going to find a way to hold her own better. Like she's been through this once before.
Right. And just going to when the in that final moment where Terminator's just crawling and grabbing, it goes back to what Kyle Reese said. It will not stop.
It'll never stop, right? Yep, yep. True. Very true. Yeah, and I think that was so for its time. There's not enough that I can say about the stop motion, about
Oh, it's great.
It's just a great what Stan Winston had done. It's remarkable. Building a 2-foot model and blowing up a model semi and just making this thing so believable. And I know for folks, if you want to, so I think what's going to happen over the next couple of years, I know it's not going to be what everybody wants. I will say I will at least watch it because I would love to see. They'll do an AI version of that scene. They will clean it up and make it smooth, and it will freak us all out because it'll be so wicked. Because we'll know that's what they were doing. That's what's in our head anyway. It's just a polished version because we saw it in the theater. So in the theater, if you've never seen Terminator in a theater, I'm telling you what, you will have a completely different experience than all these times you've watched it at home. That movie sucks you in, pulls you in, leaves you on the edge of your seat, unnerved, and yeah, it will get you.
And then, of course, this was the first time the famous line when the Terminator comes into the police department and they just kind of brush him off, and he's like, "I'll be back.
I'll be back." Yeah, yeah, and there's so much fun story there as far as like how Arnold came into this role and what he would do, delivering lines.
Because this was like really early on for him. I mean, he did like
Conan. That's it, basically.
Conan. There was Raw Deal and Hercules in New York, I think.
Pumping Iron, I think.
Pumping Iron, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, this is very early Arnold, and it's just a lot of fun. It just really is. And if you've never done it, folks, just scroll through behind the scenes elements. Just the fact you're looking at Arnold Schwarzenegger. They didn't have, I'm sure you know, but for if you don't know, they didn't even have permits to film some of those scenes that are in the streets. There's one story, I guess, where they just went and got Arnold up at like 3 a.m. We're shooting right now. Just threw him into the scene because that's when they could film and I guess not get arrested. I don't even understand what they were trying to pull off because it's remarkable. I love this feel of what they were like. I mean, this is incredible when you think about Arnold's legacy and what he goes on to do and how the next, 15 years of his life are shaped. Yeah, really, really, really something. These behind the scenes scenes, them choreographing everything on set. Just really, really something.
God, they all look so young.
Jeez. Oh. Well, we're old, man. Sorry to break it to everybody out there. It's this watching a movie like this makes me feel
my age.
Just makes me feel like I look. I know. Yeah. So yeah, just great, folks. Look at this. Here's the fake arm. So he insisted. Those scenes where he's popping his arm out, his eye out, and all that, those are his hands. He insisted on using his hands with the machinery, with the prosthetics and stuff like that. So again, the move to try to make things feel as authentic as it can, just great stuff. Look at some of the foreign posters.
Oh wow,
that one's creepy as all get out, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's like a Solomon Grundy Terminator mashup right there. Wow.
Ugh. That's just a classic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. Look at the lines, the colors.
Oh yeah.
That's the 40th anniversary photo. I'm sorry, the 40th anniversary. It says the 40th anniversary 4K restoration. He's back.
Nice.
This one I thought was interesting because it doesn't really showcase Arnold or the Terminator much at all. This feels more like some other generic sci-fi movie of the 80s. It was, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of fun. Like this one too, very Star Wars, almost
Right.
like a Drew Struzan.
You get the well, go back one. You got the HK. You got the HK up top there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right here. Yeah, and there you have Paul
Yeah.
Winslow and Lance Hendrickson making the poster. Yeah, good
Yep.
on them. This is the roommate over here on the
Yep.
right. Yep. Yeah, very interesting. That one I thought was pretty cool too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, very cool for sure. I'll pull up the other one.
That red eye. That red eye is just that is so cool.
Yeah, everything that you want is sort of there. I mean, I get it. People wanted, so I mean, there was some debate. We'll go to this one real quick. There was some debate between Arnold and Cameron because he was told, you're not going to kill anyone in this movie. It's like, what do you mean I'm not going to kill in this movie? Then of course when he reads the story, he understands with the kid. He's like, yeah, but what about before the kid? No, you're not going to kill anyone. You'll understand when you get there. The fact that they don't say anything in that scene where he's mowing down all the police cars and calls them, and it has a little thing, human casualties 0.
Right. 0.
Way to do it, man. Great storytelling without storytelling, man.
Which again, just how cool is that? It's just, I mean, because you want to be that guy holding like the Gatling gun, kicking out a window, and just
yeah, kicking butt, taking names, man. And the fact that the Terminator is under directives and follows those directives to a T, it's phenomenal. And it's one of those things where you grow and appreciate it more the more times you watch and enjoy the film, because you understand how tight and thought through everything was. This wasn't just some haphazard script thrown together or anything like that. So I definitely enjoyed that. I was jumping ahead with a few of the pictures and see if we get to the posters or other notable things. We got to get through all they're always out of order. Just drives me crazy.
Always.
Oh, the visual effects are interesting too, because I had recently done Talk Hard on Westworld. So Westworld was kind of like the very first one to do this. The very first music, these pixelated, this is the view of the android sort of thing. To know that within like 15 years, it would look this cool, and they would add all these little visual movements and different.
Right.
Yeah, always great, always good stuff. Always like that. But yeah, I don't think there's anything that can be said. Not enough can be said about the visual effects and the stunning elements of the films. I get why most people would prefer T2 over Terminator. Yeah. But I think that it's, again, we're back to that, budget and time and what also is happening in the world, right?
Right.
So between 84 and 91, this massive technological boom, CGI, Cameron himself, like, he's part of that. It's not like it's not like the guy took someone else's creation and ran with it. But there was stuff being done with the Back to the Future franchise as well. It was very cutting edge with what Zemeckis and their team was doing. And this is post even Roger Rabbit, which we don't give credit to, but they were doing a great blending between effects and humans on screen of how to blur things out, hide props. So they would have, like, when they dunk Roger in the sink, right, and water comes shooting out, so this metal mechanism that they're going to animate over. This is the company that figured out how to do that seamlessly. So may not be an effect that was used in T2, but maybe it wasn't. I just don't know what scene it was. So it's yeah, forced time. So, but let's look at these T2 posters. This one's great.
Nice.
That is great. Arnold's not even in this one.
No, he's not.
The battle for tomorrow has begun. Yeah. Oh, this is just graphics. This is the other one. The Hasta La Vista poster.
Baby.
That's great. There's some good liners in the second movie. It doesn't get necessarily the credit that the first movie gets with the I'll be back thing. But Hasta La Vista Baby was around a long time. People were still saying
it was. Oh, I know.
Way after the fact.
Too long, to be honest.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I think that because this is also so great, we tend to be well. It's fine. I mean, I totally get it. I'm in the minority who can have some patience with what Terminator 3 did,
Right.
and when I saw it in the theater, I appreciated the fact that Arnold was going for practical effects. They were going for more street filming. They were going with that big, the big truck scenes and stuff was all
Mhm.
done with practical stuff. So I was trying to cut it a little bit of slack, and they were trying to shoehorn the movie
T3
into.
T3 was Rise of the Machines, right?
Yeah, it's like with the girl in the
Yeah.
red,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
they end up in the bunker
Yeah. The
as Judgment
which
Day's
I thought
actually
was
happening.
which I thought was great.
Right.
I thought that was a
I
great scene.
Yeah, I think the movie just in rewatchability, it slogs between that cement truck action sequence,
Hmm.
and then I don't care as much about the action sequence with him and the girl at the end. It just doesn't
No.
I don't know, just didn't work. And there's too much time wasted in that scene with like all the other little robots at Skynet attacking everybody.
Hmm.
I don't care about all that. That's just So I'm not going to pretend that I enjoy T3 and rewatch it regularly. I just don't hate it as much as everybody else. We already
Gotcha.
discussed the salvation issues, but I think when T2 takes Terminator, raises the bar, and then when you don't know where to go and what to do,
Right.
it just how do you live up to that? So, yeah, it's definitely a fun one for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you score these movies?
Ooh, out of five. Out of five.
Yeah, I'm an old school. You know me. I'm an old school 5-star system kind of guy. But we can relate it to 10 for people out there as well. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
10. Terminator. 7.5.
Hmm.
T T2 and 8.
Okay. You're definitely a harder critic than me on these. I think these are the only. See, I'm ready to like go almost a 9 on Terminator because the only negative I have is there's some slugginess around them having
Right.
the relationshipy stuff's a little
Right.
bland. But we have to have it because that's the twist, right?
Right.
That so you don't. If you can, when we can put ourselves in the mindset of that first viewing, you can feel like that was the slower part, that 10 or 15 minutes or so, but
Right.
you had to have it as the twist. And I will say too, when you rewatch Terminator, just check your time and see how much has happened. This
Gotcha.
movie is so compact. Like I kept looking at the clock of how much stuff had been introduced and done in Terminator, and I was like,
Right.
wow, this is a really fast, tight moving script. Like it
Oh yeah.
really moved fast.
Very much
So
so.
I'm going to lean way higher than my guess, which is really unheard of. So I'm gonna lean into 4.5 on the out of the
Okay.
5. I would probably give it a 9. I think the rewatchability is still tremendous.
Okay. I mean, but you and I are from the same cloth. It's like there's nothing wrong with a 6 out of 10.
No, that's the baseline. The baseline is if I gave something like a 3 out of 5, that's like you should go see this movie.
Yeah.
The 2.5 has some nuances to it, right? And then the 2 is like the guilty pleasure categories where like, oh, you guys have to admit it's not a good movie or it's got all these flaws or whatever, but you enjoy the process, you enjoy whatever.
Oh yeah.
When you get to like a 4, those are the great movies.
Yeah.
And then the 5 are like the legends. Like that's the legends. And that's where
That's the
T2 ends up for me. Like
unicorns.
T2 is the 10. Like I don't know. I mean, there's some time travel contradictions, especially with the ending, that kind of makes it a 9.5. It's like it just takes a little bit of the edge off for me, but
Gotcha.
it's so slim. It really
Yeah.
is. These are
They're
both
fantastic films.
the
Fantastic
remarkable.
films.
Yeah. This is like the GOAT list for me, for
Oh,
sure.
it's up there definitely.
Yeah. It's been good. Good to talk. And we could nuance it till the end of time, as far as like ambiance and stuff. But I think we're ultimately going to come back to preferences that are going to be tied to when it was made and the budget. Right. If you prefer and you can handle the more horror feeling and that street vibe and the darker edginess of the first film versus they had the money, they could film it in the light, they can pull the CGI and the effects off, and what am I supposed to do? I don't feel like it's fair to bash on Terminator or give props to T. It's silliness. I love them both.
Right.
I think they're both just remarkable, and I think this is why when the best we can get, if they weren't called Terminator movies, T3 and Salvation would probably be way more palatable, but they just can't. They just can't even
No.
get a ticket to the game. They're stuck in that 2 out of 5 for me. 2.5 is probably being kind to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just.
Salvation.
Yeah, I'm just in that. That's where I am with those two. The other stuff's completely unwatchable for me. I'll never sit through Dark Fate again. I'll never sit through Genesis. I'll never get through Genesis again. It's just a complete waste of time.
Genesis, the only thing I liked about that was Matt Smith.
Yeah, but I can't get past the story issue. I just can't get.
Right. I get you.
His performance was fine. I didn't hate it. Like I said, I didn't hate it till they time jumped without making out. Like I'm like, wait, we don't even have John Connor. Like, wait, we wouldn't have. I mean, I don't want to be the jerk here talking about sperms and eggs and science, but we have a problem because y'all didn't follow the original line and they were following it the whole time and then stopped and just like, we're gonna time jump. Wait, no, you're not supposed to time jump.
No.
It was the worst, and I just can't watch either one of those. Like I said, the Netflix thing or whatever they did, it was fine. I would have to kind of, I know I did a video on it. That's the best of my reaction I give you folks. I'm not going to watch it again. I'm not sit through it again.
Give the
Derek Connor show.
Yeah, a watch.
Yeah, I should. I just time. As TV shows are tricky, devoting a lot of time. But
true story.
Yeah, Joker man, it's been fun hanging out with you, brother. Doing
this.
Always
fun.
You're my go-to to keep me up with some fun wrestling stuff. Your fun hot takes on different things that you over with Roman's channel, and of course you got some cool merch. Give everybody a little catch up on what's going on with you and your channel and different things going on in your life, my friend.
Well, within the last year, I did a complete content shift. I went from specifically culture, genre stuff. I went completely to WWE and professional wrestling, something I've loved all my life, and I want to talk about things that I enjoy instead of having just to hate watch things and be upset half the. Don't get me started on that, dear God. But yeah, so I've got a show that we've been going about a year now called Wednesday Night is Overbooked. Myself, Matt the Unbearable 73, which is a friend of ours, Left Eye Ego, as well, and Bradley Duke Devil 95, and we are just goofs who talk about a soap opera made for guys, and we have a show the Wednesday night called Wednesday Night is Overbooked, and if you check any of my videos, there's a link to the merchandise store. We got the original Joker voice, the merchandise, plus Wednesday Night is Overbooked, coffee mugs, t-shirts, mouse pads, stuff.
It's all there, man. I thought, definitely hook up with Joker, get to know him and stuff like that. If you need a guest though, talk about nerdy pop culture stuff though, he's super knowledgeable. He's definitely plugged in that same eras that I am. We're definitely brothers cut from the same kind of cloth, man. I'm telling you what. And I get it, man. I get it. You can't just keep saying the same thing over and over again. You eventually just have a callus on your head and you just like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm glad that you just did something you enjoy doing. And folks, I have to be honest, I've been leaning more into, I mean, how many days a week should I do a throwback video? Because I went from Thursday to Tuesday. Now it's kind of like, well, Tuesday and Thursdays aren't enough. I should feel like I should do like throwback videos nearly every day because that brings me more joy. And many of you are enjoying that reminiscing and knowing what are good movies. I
think we should come back on again to talk cartoons.
Yeah, we definitely need to do cartoons. I have a cartoon video dropping here soon. We talked about Herculoids, Space Ghost, and Thundar the Barbarian.
My!
So just briefly, just trying to remind people that they're out there, give them a little history lesson of 66 versus 81 versus, why did they cancel Thundar and how you can get physical copies or not. And by the way, Space Ghost comic is freaking great. So if anybody out there hasn't read that yet, check it out. Space Ghost, the new Space Ghost comic is good. I can't recommend some of the other comics on this stuff. The Herculoids comic came out, and the god awful art on the inside is just shocking. I did a shockingly bad video. It's shockingly bad.
I love the
There's
Herculoids,
two
though.
panels of Herculoids where Xandar doesn't have eyes, a nose, or a mouth. It's just didn't put the art in, just didn't do it. And
Oh,
in one of them, he has a speech bubble. It's
okay.
it's unconscionable. Yeah, we can definitely do cartoons again. And we probably, you know what we should do? I'm a hypocrite because I've promised you probably for 2 years to do it. Because I only watch random episodes with my grandkids. I probably should just watch like 20 something episodes of Battle of the Planets, and we should just do something on Battle of the Planets because I love Battle of the Planets. I think I sent you a video. Did I send you
Oh, yeah.
a picture of them watching it with me? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're watching. And those of you who don't know
You
me,
sent me comics, too. You sent me
yeah, but I'm
comics
just
about...
yeah I'm raising my grandkids to be the next version of us. Like, so they
Nice.
only watch the old stuff. They don't even ask now. They'll go, I don't want to watch that, and then they're glued to the TV the whole freaking time because they're fantastic, right?
Do they watch the Thundercats?
They don't get into the Thundercats, and the problem is we have to pick and choose what they're on in the moment. So we had it on, and they just didn't stay glued to it. So I'm not being critical. Same with He-Man, the same thing. They just didn't stay glued to the TV. So we're like, okay,
so good.
let's just come back to it. We'll see what happens. Because sometimes that's what happens. It's like it doesn't work the first time. We just put it on again later, and we'll see how it goes.
Here's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a thought, because there was also a 2011 remake of the Thundercats, which is actually really good too.
Okay.
We could do.
Yeah. We go through highs and lows of what they're into. The little girl gets to pick because it'll be her weekend when they're here soon.
Okay.
And she usually walks in asking for her go-tos are like Roly Poly Oly and Mighty Mouse and some
Mighty Mouse is great.
Oh, she loves it. She loves. Yeah, there are
Underdog.
They like Underdog's fine. There's actually some knockoff stuff. Like, do you know how they did like a cartoon and toys for everything?
Oh yeah.
So there's a Karate Kid cartoon.
Oh yeah.
They actually liked watching 2 or 3 of those episodes. There is I don't know, they like Ant and the Aardvark. They like Wacky Races. Wacky Races is a huge hit. They love that type of Laugh Olympics, Scooby-Doo type spin-off stuff. They've been through Scooby-Doo so long, I've kind of taken Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is actually sitting right here next to me on the desk. It's not actually in there. I have the
Phooey.
Oh yeah, they watch. Yeah, they didn't want to watch Hong Kong Phooey, then they couldn't look away. They didn't want to watch Hong Kong Phooey, and then they watched like 5 episodes in a row. And my wife's like, "Are they still watching that?" I said, "They haven't moved." And like an hour and a half.
Because he's the number 1 super guy.
He is indeed. I was trying to get to show you this box set that I have. Sorry, I'm trying to take all the stuff that, because everything is like it could lean on something else. That's how I broke up. I have a Batman statue that broke because of that. I did something moved and knocked something over. So I have the DVD set is in the Mystery Machine.
Oh, that's so cool. That is cool.
So, yeah. So it sits right here next to me, and yeah, they don't watch that right. We had to take a break because they were watching Scooby-Doo to the point where, like, you got to watch the other stuff too, guys. You can't watch just that. So that's how I got on my Laugh Olympics, which led to Wacky Races, which is what else is in there. And then at the first of the year, my missus and I made a conscious decision to put all the Disney away. We are like, Disney's not going to ruin their legacy for us, but we need a vacation from them.
Gotcha.
So I have, by the time people see this, I may have already been released, but I'm doing a first time watch reaction video to Mary Poppins because the Gourd King has never seen Mary Poppins.
Really?
So it will break my Disney.
That's a fascinating film. That's a great film.
So yeah, Gord and I have a weekly first time watch we do together. So we've been going through first time I seen, first time he saw, that kind of thing.
Okay.
We've been through some great films like Contact and Arrival, Patton, Scott Pilgrim, and we're going to do Mary Poppins. So it'll be the first Disney thing that we've watched probably in a year. I think they watched Tangled last year because my daughter loves it. So I think Tangled was a cheat movie. I don't think they picked it. I think she did because she was watching them. So yeah, Christmas time they watch a couple of Disney shorts. There's a couple of little Disney things that they did that get into the Christmas rotation, but there's not been any Disney. And we're like, we just need to take a breath from them because I don't want it to be tainted. I don't want it to be ruined.
Actually, a good Christmas special, the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. It's probably among, no, 100% is among the best of the Disney Marvel things, for sure. So for sure, it was fun.
That and at Halloween you can watch The Werewolf by Night too.
Yeah, I try to watch it, and
I
I
know.
watch it again. I can't watch the fight scene. Once I've seen the fight scene and I know how bad it is choreographed, it's hard to watch it again. I can't do it. Like when the guy's rolling.
I know.
Oh my gosh, brother, I can't. But I'm not saying it's the worst thing they did, because Lord knows there were other things that were worse. But,
true story.
All right, folks. But yeah, you folks, listen. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Maybe you have a favorite. Maybe you have a memory. Maybe you have some element that we didn't talk about that you would love to kind of throw out there for some conversation. Yeah, definitely down for it. It's not going to be a solvable debate. I think it's just it's legends, man. It's legends taking on legends. This is among the best. So
true story.
But yeah, it was great to have a friend in here talking about it.
Always.
And Joker, my brother, always good. Always good.
My pleasure, my friend.
For those of you out there, I hope your weekend is great and you have a great time ahead, road ahead. Be blessed. Talk hard. Till next time, I am Pops.
Toodles.
Week after week, the Cape Crusader copes with the tricky traps of vicious villains. Will the time arrive when the Cape crime fighters come too close to the jaws of death?
Holy metronome, what a fate! Punched in a player piano roll.
Watch Batman in color on ABC.
Anybody for outer space?
Mark, Jason, Princess, Keop, and Tiny.
Let's go, Tiny.
5 orphans with manga faces join forces in a quest to save the galaxy from the dreaded evil Zoltar, who just won't die. Battle of the Planets, today at 5 on Bravo.
I drink Dr. Pepper and I'm proud. I'm part of an original crowd. And if you look around these days, there seems to be a Dr. Pepper craze. I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, we're a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper. If you drink Dr. Pepper, you're a pepper too. Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. Be a pepper, drink.
Take the serum to those 6 below.
Logan stumbles on a civilization frozen in a deep sleep after the Holocaust.
Don't they all deserve to live?
Probably. But only 3 of them can.
I live, or no one lives.
Logan's Run, 7:30 Saturday on 7.
Hello. Gotham Corner Store? Yes, we seem to be down to our last Diet Coke. A gentleman is on his way to pick some up. Just look for a black car. No, this black car will be rather difficult to miss. And by the way, the gentleman is usually in quite a rush.
Just for the taste of it.